Okay. All right. What's it been like 6 years since we've done a show or something like that?
That's what it feels like, right?
Oh
It's been 6
my God.
weeks, but weeks,
Yeah,
years, time is
I
an
know.
illusion.
That's right too. Yeah, the Puerto Rican princess Johanna Gunez. Do I say it correct? I keep trying to say it properly.
Godinez, close
Godinez.
enough.
God, okay. All right, good. She's in beautiful Miami right now, hanging out with her fantastic husband, who I have not met yet. Hopefully, maybe him and I can do a podcast someday, or the three of
Oh,
us.
you'd love it.
Is he quite a talker? Is he pretty quiet, or what's he like?
He's quieter than I am, but
Well,
he's got
okay,
a
but
lot
hold
of
on, hold on,
nuggets.
hold on. Quieter than you doesn't mean like that. That doesn't tell us a whole lot.
No, definitely more soft spoken than I
Is
am,
he
but
soft spoken?
very wise.
Very wise. Okay, so he's one of those guys. So you guys are a good pair that way, then, because okay, I get it. I like it. Good.
Yeah.
So obviously you can get a hold. Johanna is really into yoga, not just the physical part of yoga, the spiritual part of yoga. Taught me a lot of stuff. Really opened up my mind to thinking about more about the universes and life and death. And man, seriously, it really has changed my life the way I open up. Oh man. Okay? First of all, let's talk about your trip to Bali. You were you there in Bali for what, 4 weeks?
Yeah, I was there. I always go there the 30 days that they let me. That's how long
Is
I'm
that
there.
right? Oh, what do you mean they let you?
It's the visa that you get upon
Oh,
arrival is 30 days. If you want to stay longer, you need to go through a process to extend it. So
okay,
I just,
very cool.
yeah.
Some of the videos are great. A beautiful place, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Is Bali in Indonesia? Is that where it is? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
We went to 3 of the Indonesian islands.
okay. Is that what there is? How many islands are there?
Oh, there's thousands. But
Oh,
we went to Bali, Nusa Penida, and Java.
oh, okay. Wow, very cool. And Bali, so that's like what, a little northwest of Australia, right?
Yeah, it's close to Australia. Like
Yeah.
a lot of Australians go to their vacations in Bali.
I noticed that when I was in Fiji, it was the same thing. New Zealanders and Australians. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how I know you travel around the world too, but you kind of get stuck in your own little world. Then when you get away from it, you're like, man, there's a whole bunch of different people around the world. That's like,
Yeah, and the culture in Bali is so different than it is
yeah,
here. Like in the mornings you see everyone blessing their business and they dress in like their full garb and they do these little things that are square like this made out of palm leaves and they have different flowers that each mean something different and then they do an offering in the middle that can be like food or money or even a cigarette and then incense, so everything smells like incense, like the whole
oh, really?
place smells like incense. It's amazing.
So they're really proud of their heritage, their culture. That's yeah. We kind of lose that,
Yeah.
don't we? Like we really don't have that. I mean, we guess we do. Like we're Americans, and but it's not like we don't have daily rituals. Like
Yeah, no, and the cool thing is like Bali is one of the few islands that has like multiple religions that are part of the island. Like there's Muslims, there's Hindus, there's Christians, there's Catholics, and like they all get along. Like there
oh,
there never seems to be any like
right.
religious rift, and sometimes you only know because like there'll be a festival and like some cars will be decorated and some won't, so you'll know, oh, that person's a Hindu because they have decorations on their car, and
Right.
it's a cool vibe all the way
That's
around.
interesting, right? So here we seem to always have some tension between religions, and kind of well, I was going to say I wonder, but clearly it's manufactured, right? It's our media manufacturers. They want us hating each other. Yeah.
Yeah, they know that there's more power for them if we are divided than if we are
True.
united,
That well
because
put. I like the way you said that. That was very accurate. Like I try to research like places like Nepal, Philippines, they've been rioting against their politicians to try to take over their. But we don't see that here, right? They don't show that.
yeah, I mean, even when we did it in Puerto Rico, they didn't really televise that in the States. Like we kicked out our governor.
When
We
was
had
that?
him to
Honest to God,
resign.
it's amazing. I did not know that. When was this?
I want to say in like 2016,
What's that
2017.
right? Eh?
It
Wow.
was Rosselló Renuncia. They had about a 6 of the island did a walk in the middle of the highway, 5-lane highway, thousands of people. Ricky Martin was there heading it, and it
Wow.
was intense. Yeah.
And so you're wondering, like, if we ever, and it'd be highly unlikely we would ever happen here, but so we would have to get millions of people marching down in the cities to say, okay, we've had it. You're out of it. Interesting.
It is possible. It's just that
Yeah.
right now we're finding more things to separate us than unite us. But I remember when I lived in Illinois, when I was growing up in high school, the meat industry, like all the guys that did the meat, decided to raise prices up altogether, and meat got really expensive. And people boycotted the meat, and they threw
Right.
thousands and thousands of pounds of meat out because no one would buy meat because they
Oh,
were all boycott, and it worked. They lowered
wow,
their prices. So
wow.
I mean, it is possible. It's
Yeah,
just that, again, we have to find that reason to unite
I know.
instead of,
And,
yeah,
and the media is owned by the same people that own the politicians. So we've kept
yeah,
fed like the whole. And listen, I'm very happy for all the people in the Middle East and Gaza and all that kind of stuff. But in the whole big scheme of things, there's a lot of things going on in our own country we need to clear up as well. It's great it's not that's a bad thing, but yeah, very true.
yeah. I love, like, right now. There's so much talk about the Super Bowl and Bad Bunny being in the Super
Oh,
Bowl, and people
I know,
talking about an American needs to be there, and it's like, yeah, he is American. Like,
I know.
just so much, and it's because of, like, he decided not to tour in the U.S. because he knew that a lot of Hispanics would be at his concerts, and he was afraid of ICE coming into
Oh,
and arresting some of his people. So he said, that's why he did a 31 show residency in Puerto Rico. And, like, I
oh,
love that he's using everything that he does
right.
as kind of his way to stand up for what he believes in. And I don't really like his music all that much,
Right.
but I commend him for what he's doing as a
I
person.
bet you most people don't even understand that's what's going on. People are
Yeah.
oblivious. It's the same thing. Like we got the government shutdown right now in the U.S. But the average
Mhm.
person, does anybody even care? Like if they didn't know it from the media, they wouldn't even know what was going on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Here's one of the big things that's happened. Have you got a topic that you're interested in discussing today, or you're wide open?
No, I'm wide
Okay,
open
all
as
right.
always.
So here's one of the big things I've noticed since you have shown me, and I've studied my own, that there's the possibility in life that we are not brought down here by somebody else. We chose to come here. We're a
Hmm.
soul that chose to come here. We chose the life we want to live, the kind of parents we want, the lessons we want to learn, all that kind of stuff. So instead of now looking when something happens and going, "Oh, poor me," hey, you know where I'm going here. Instead of saying, "Oh, poor me, why is this happening to me?" I'm realizing, no, I chose for this type of life. Maybe it's not the specific thing, but that type of thing to happen so I could learn. You're less bitter about things. You're more like, "Oh, okay, this is what was supposed to happen. I'm supposed to learn this stuff." That's been the amazing thing I've noticed that I've learned more and more over a period of time here. So very cool.
Yeah, and the cool thing about when you start looking at life like that is everything in life happens in cycles. And
Right.
then you notice when your life has gone in cycles, and then you notice, like, what lesson did I not learn the last time I went through this cycle that's causing me to repeat the cycle again, right? So you start looking at the things that happen to you as, like, what do I need to learn from this? How do I move forward from this? How do I share this? And yeah, like you said, it starts making you less of a victim and
Yeah.
less identified as poor me. This is happening to me. Why is this happening to me? As to, what do I need to learn from this? How did I cause this? How did I
Right.
trigger this to happen in my own life?
Sure.
And it actually gives us a lot more responsibility, but it also gives us a lot more accountability as to the things that are going on in our lives,
Right.
because it's so easy to be like, oh, it's that person's fault.
Yep.
But if it's that person's fault, then there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is, you have the power unless you give it away.
Right. And we have a choice, right? We can live in this is my term. You can live in an ugly world, or you can live in a beautiful world, right?
Yeah.
So
It's all about the lens.
yeah, you choose the way you want to view it, and you can even change your like even in small ways. You're walking down the street and there's garbage on the street. And you don't want to live in a place that has garbage on the street. Well, you pick the garbage up, right? It's pretty simple, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, my
yeah,
husband laughs at me because we go on vacation, and if I see a lot of garbage on the beach, I'll go back to the hotel, ask him for a garbage bag, and go clean the beach as we
yeah,
walk. And he's always like, "There's so much, like, you're not even making a dent." And I'm like, "Yeah, well,
yeah,
I feel like I'm making a dent because
absolutely.
I'm doing something
Yeah,
about it."
totally. That is the point, right? You can look at it and say, "Geez, how can one person make that big of a difference?" Well, that you do it and somebody else does it. You know what else I learned too is to be honest, whenever I would do things for people in the past, I hope I would do it for the right reason because it's a good thing
Hmm.
to do. But to be very honest, in the back of my head, I may have been thinking, well, if I do good things for other people, good things are going to come back to me. which is okay. But I think I've now learned more. But don't ever look for anything in return. Just do the good thing, right? Like you're picking up garbage nobody's
Yeah.
going to come and thank you for picking up
Yeah.
garbage, right? So,
Yeah, or when I take care of sea turtles, like they're not gonna come say thank you.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
yeah, and the cool thing about that is that's what karma yoga is. Karma is not what you get back from anything. Karma is your actions and the reason why you're doing it, right? So selfless action is karma yoga. So when you're looking at, I came here in the Buddhist tradition, for example, they believe that you carry karma from your past life and into your next life. And that part of the things that are happening to you in this life are to resolve some of that karma, burn off some of that karma that you have.
right.
And doing things based on just the action is one of the ways.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you believe then that we are a soul and that we're in this body just to live this life and learn, and then when this body dies, where your soul goes back now into the soul universe, that's my term. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Sure.
Um, and then you decide now, okay, I want to come back down to earth in another form, another person, another body. Is that reincarnation?
Mhm.
Oh, it is. Okay.
That's what they consider reincarnation. Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. Somebody asked me that question the other day. I've been trying to, you know what it is? Still, people are a little bit hesitant with any new ideas, I notice, right? So now I'm a little bit different now. So now I talk about the stuff we're talking about. And you can tell people are like, okay, is Tom losing it a little bit or is he, right?
Well, the thing is you'll start attracting more people that speak your language, the
Yeah.
more because like if you think of vibration, right? They say that you're only as successful as the 5 people that you surround yourself by. Well,
Right.
technically that's not true. It's your vibration is only as high as the people that you surround yourself by. So it has nothing to do with success or money. It has everything to do with the vibration. And the more that you change your vibration, the more that you start, it's like a magnet, right? Like you'll
Yeah.
start repelling the people that are no longer in that vibration and attracting the people that are now going to match your vibration,
Yeah.
which means that then you'll just come into contact with more people that are open and willing to have these conversations with
Oh,
you.
very true. It's so true. What's today? Tuesday. So Sunday, I was at a New York Ranger event at the Palisades Mall over in, you know where that is here.
Yeah.
And it's a range event, learn to skate. There's young kids there and everything. And this woman actually was there with her son, her stepson, and her husband. Her husband had been a 20-year Marine. She actually had worked for the LA Kings when I was out in Los Angeles, played out there. So we got talking about the old days and everything. And she had her stepson was I think he's like 25, whatever, Army veteran, recently in a motorcycle accident and lost his leg in a motorcycle accident. He was there in the wheelchair and everything. And I'm thinking, oh God, I hadn't met him yet. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be awkward. You know, this poor guy's going through all this stuff. And, but to your point about like meeting like people that are like, because of your vibration already, like in the accident was only like early September. So like a month and a half.
Oh, wow.
He'd already gotten to the point where he said, listen, this is what it is. I'm not going to sit around and cry about it. Let's get things going. So we had a conference call today with some other guys and hook them up with some other military people. So yeah, and it's really, here's this poor guy going through what he's going through, but man, he's inspiring, right? Like, you know, so to your point, this person has come into my life, you know, I think largely because I've now changed my way of looking at life.
Mhm.
So,
Well, and it helps like cement that new belief, right? That
yeah,
it's all about how you look at it because you see someone who's going through something that for some people would be life ending, you know,
yeah,
because and what yoga teaches you is that something affects you as much as you identify yourself with it. So sometimes things happen to us and we let it become part of our identity.
yeah.
When that happens and that attachment gets created, you become a victim of that versus being able to move forward. It's like you can look at the problem or you can look at the solution, but you can't look at both of them at the same time, right? And that's kind of that lens as well. Am I going to look at my problem or am I going to find solutions to my problem?
And do you think that even goes in a positive way too, where
Of
for my
course.
instance, yeah. So for me playing in the National Hockey League, if I now sit around and just that's all I ever am in life, then that's it. So
Mhm.
it's part of what happened, but that's not who Tom Laidlaw is, right? So
Exactly. Yeah, and so many of us don't know our identity past what we do.
yeah, no kidding,
And
right?
that's huge because if that gets taken away, then who are you? What's your
Yeah,
identity? What
yeah.
are you doing here? So Yeah.
I love having you on the show, correct? Correct. You understand. But here's the only problem. Here's what happens, right? It's called the Beauty and the Beast show. Yeah.
Which one's the beauty and which one's the
Oh
beast?
no,
Hey
I
now, Ira.
think we're clear on that. Okay, kind of a sad story. We had a gentleman who had been over 20 years in the New York City Police Department. Seen a lot of stuff undercover. Been a lot of crazy stuff. Had done some fantastic things for particularly hockey communities, but not limited to it, helping kids and everything. Recently took his own life. It was very sad too. He had posted, well, people know, so it's no secret. It's Pete Giantempo was his name. Fantastic guy. And you know what's one of those things where people go, "Oh, geez, I never would have thought that he would do it," right?" Well, obviously we don't know. So the whole concept of someone taking their own life, and there's some people would even get mad about it and say that it was selfish that he did what he did. But obviously, if somebody's going through that, if somebody's in that much pain that they take their own life, I don't know if it sounds weird or not. I want to get your opinion on this. I'm not happy for him, but I'm thinking if he's in so much pain, and the theory is now that pain is now gone, instead of being mad at him, you think, okay, he's in a better place. Is that accurate? Do you feel that way?
I struggle with this a little
Yeah.
bit because, as you mentioned earlier, like we change our mind about things,
Yeah.
and that's such a final thing. Like you don't get to change your mind about it, And I also feel like mental health is still a bit of a taboo.
Yeah.
And people, because you are seen as this amazing guy who accomplished all of this, like you want to uphold that image that people have of you. So you're less likely to open up about the struggles that you're having. And when you are sitting there with the struggles in your mind, just saying it to yourself over and over, and you don't voice it, and you get no space to just be held in your pain and to let that pain out and actually hear it out loud. And I feel like that's a society problem at the moment,
Yeah.
in terms of everyone's portraying this, I am this and I am that, and half of them are in a lot of pain inside, and that doesn't coincide with the identity that other people have of them. And so they hide the pain, and they don't talk about it. And I feel like creating more spaces like this, where we're like, no, that shit's real, it exists, people are going through stuff that we know nothing about, and just to be there, and just to have an open space for them to communicate, I think is really important. And creating, like, I love that you always mention the suicide hotline at the end, because I do feel like we need more resources in that way, and especially for veterans. I mean,
Yeah.
like, they spend all of their youth in very tough spaces, and then when they come back, like, they need the resources in order to get their lives back together, and oftentimes there's just not enough for them.
And to your point too, it's like, and it's obviously it's not limited to men, but I'm a man, so I think I can talk to it better.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's so you go through all this stuff, like you said. Now people have this picture of you, or at least you think
They do. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't want, if you now start in your mind, if you now start talking about your feelings, or now it almost looks, is that a weakness now? Like, and I know people say, well, we shouldn't think that way, but that's reality. Men think that way. They do.
Well, that's how they grow up thinking, like girls don't show anger, boys don't show emotion. Like, what is that? Of course that girls get angry and boys show emotion, but the fact that we are training basically kids to repress, like, if you don't have expression and coping skills because you were asked to repress everything as a child, like, it's decades of repression that you're dealing with at a certain age that you don't know how to manage and you don't know how to cope with.
But so here's one of the issues I find. So there's a great video I saw. A guy sitting in his shop in his garage by himself, just a regular looking guy, ball cap on. He's got this ball of twine, or no, his ball of wire that he put together like 40 years ago. And now this ball of of wire is now small. It's almost all gone. So it's now he's kind of reflecting on the fact of all this 40 years. He had this big ball of wire. Now it's gone. It's kind of like his life. So he's reflecting. And his wife comes out and again, she's not a mental health expert. She sees him and she goes like, "What's wrong?" And he's trying to explain to her, "Listen, I had this ball of wire for 40 years and it was big and it's now small." She's trying to express how he's feeling. And it's not her fault. You can tell she just didn't understand it. So now she says, "Well, you've got your Detroit Lions hat on. That's why I was worried." You're kind of joking about it. And he was trying to open up and she just didn't understand that that's what he was trying to do. Like that. And it's not even fair to her. She just didn't, she's not an expert. She's not trained in mental health. That's part of the issue, right? It's like having people around that really can see, okay, this person's trying to open up and talk to me. I need to now be available for him to talk to me.
Yeah. Well, it's not always comfortable,
Yeah.
to hold space for someone because it also triggers things in yourself. So sometimes being there and holding space, like when you try to be empathic towards that other person, in order for you to truly be empathic, you need to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. And sometimes that's actually really easy. And jumping into their shoes triggers things for you that now make it so that you can't be there for them because you can't be there for yourself, right? So we're not really trained in this way because we're not taught about psychology and mental health at any point in time during our youth. It's something that as an adult you need to sort of figure out for yourself.
So see, I like where we're going here. So it isn't just about the person opening up and talking about his feelings. It's about having people around that understand what to do with that at that point too, right? Because it doesn't do any good for that person to open up. It almost makes it worse if that person opens up and then doesn't get any help. So now they won't.
Yeah, or God forbid they're ridiculed for it or made feel like minimize. Like that's a big thing we do. We minimize other people's feelings. Oh, that's okay. Oh, I went through something like that. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Those kind of reactions.
Yeah, you're a man, suck it up. You're a strong woman, suck it up. Yeah, I know. That is. And again, it's hard to even blame the other person because they're not trained, like you're saying. Like we don't, and it's funny. So now we go to, okay, so we have kids go to school all the time. And one of the most important things, if we're acknowledging our mental health is a major issue in this country, but we're doing nothing to train anybody about mental health, either how to accept somebody else is looking for help or how to go get,
and we're not encouraged to get help ourselves.
Yeah.
Like it's still a little taboo to say, I go to a psychiatrist or I'm on antidepressants or, I have bipolar disorder or whatever. Like we see those things as negative when it just is what it is. And it's something someone's going through. So
do you, hold on, so Ira, hold on. This Ira here is really bothering me. I love Johanna. She's the bomb. Okay. Enough. That's it.
Thank you.
It's the last time I'm going to put up a nice thing about Johanna. No, nothing more. William Haynes, a veteran out in Chicago for us, a great guy, retired now. It was a engineer on the train service out there. But again, he's a fantastic veteran. John DeMonte.
Hi, John.
How you doing? Well, that's, we can go on. That's it's amazing how I've done a few shows about this whole mental health thing and how there's so many people recognize it, but there's so little. There are some things like that 988 hotline and the people behind it do a lot of great things. And again, it kind of goes to, we get into the whole political thing, Tano. I think we kind of think, okay, our politicians are there now to solve all these issues. But for us to sit around and wait for them to do that, we got to do it ourselves, right? Yeah.
Yeah, especially because these are issues that are solved in community. They're not solved by the government, like no one's going to come knock at my door and help me. Right. And if I don't know how to get help for myself, because that's another thing when you're drowning in a dark night of the soul, so to speak, like it's hard for you to think of, oh, well, if I do this, I can get help. Or if I do that, I can get help because your mind is just in where you are in that emotion. It's not in the solution mode. It's in focusing on your issues. So that's why it's important also for us to ask our friends, like, are you doing okay? And whenever they do anything that seems a little out of character, so that they're encouraged to open up to us.
It's interesting. This weekend, I was at another event where another former police officer who was friends with the Pete that had taken his life was there. And again, he was a former police officer, supposed to be this tough guy. And all I said to him was, are you okay? Because I'm thinking to myself, well, probably is anybody asking this guy if he's okay, right? Because he's the
He
tough.
lost his friend. Yeah.
Yeah. And he looked at me like he was kind of shocked at first that I thought to ask. And then we talked for a while. And he said, well, I won't. Yeah, it hurt for a while. It made me think about all this different stuff. And then when we walked away, he goes, wow, that was really something that you asked me that. I didn't view it as a big deal, but to him, it was,
Well, sometimes the littlest things that we do like mean nothing to us, but mean so much for somebody else. And that's why like sometimes we think about someone and going out of our way and just for some reason that person popped into your head. If you thought about them, call them, like text them, write them. My cousin just went through something really terrible. Her brother got in a car accident and he's a doctor and he can't move from his neck down. Oh. And like I'm calling her like every other day, making sure that she's okay, because that's her big brother, and even though they weren't as close anymore as adults, like I know she's suffering a lot, and I'm sure like getting those phone calls and crying and opening up and like helps her, deal with the pain she's going through, seeing her brother like that.
It's amazing stuff, right? God, it's just like we haven't sitting here talking about it. Geez, it sounds so simple, but it's done so little, right? It's like we just don't.
Yeah. Well, we're so concerned with our own lives and our own image and like doing things, and so sometimes we forget that really the important thing about life is community, and it's sharing with other people, and
it's getting past that thought that, oh, nobody does that for me, so why am I going to do it for somebody else, right?
Again, that goes back to the karma. You don't do it for anyone to do it for you. You do it and it's funny because some people will say, oh, well, then you do so much and no one does anything for you, like, and you get taken advantage. But it's like you can also have boundaries, you can also say, well, I will do this until something happens that takes away from my energy or my happiness in any way. But I mean, why do people volunteer?
Yeah.
I mean, people volunteer because it makes them feel good, because helping other people make you feel good. Like, I mean, I've spent probably 10% of my life volunteering, and I'm obsessed with being able to share anything that I can to help others or other beings.
Yeah, I agree. As our veteran, William Haynes, I have severe PTSD from the time I take medication. I've been on meds for 15 years. Oh, good.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, William, because that's the thing. Like sometimes we do need the help, and there is help out there, but if we don't look for it or we don't know that it's out there, we can feel like we're drowning alone in our pain.
Right. So you're okay with the medication? I mean, everybody's different. You'd rather I presume you're thinking the same way as me. I would rather you not use medication, but if you need medication to help yourself, then you need medication.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that there's different things that lead us to depression, for example. Like it could be a situation that you're going through or a chemical imbalance in your brain. Like you're not producing enough serotonin, or your serotonin uptake is damaged for some reason. So we need to look at both of those things and understand them, because not every pill will fix every situation, but sometimes there's just not enough that we as a person can do, and we need that extra help, and that's okay as well, especially if it means that you can live a normal life, instead of a life that's consistently in pain.
Right. So somebody can't say just because it worked for William, then I need to get on medication, right?
Correct. Right. Yeah, because if it's something that you're going through and the medication is just going to mask the fact that you're not addressing the problem that you're going through. So that's where it gets a little tricky, right? Because it's easy for me to be sad because there's not something that I'm fixing in my life, and then say, okay, well, this medication helps me feel better, so I'm just going to keep ignoring this. And that's where good therapists come in, right? Because a really good therapist is going to be able to either help you through your problem or determine if you do actually need medication. And it's hard because there's no tests for these kind of things, right? So it's
and the therapists are only human too. They can't know everything about your mind, right?
And so and they can sometimes get triggered by a situation you're going through, just like anybody else.
Sure. Yeah, you imagine a therapist. They need therapy for themselves because they've got to sit there all day long and listen to everybody else's problems, right?
Yeah, most therapists become therapists because they have issues.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I
We
never
must
thought of
be
that.
honest.
Yeah, can you
Like
imagine
if
being?
I never had issues, I would have never found yoga. So I found yoga because I had issues and
Yeah,
I found how that could help me with my issues. So now I'm sharing it to help other people with
yeah,
theirs, right? But
that's true. That's true. Here's a good point too. And this is I like this. I try to learn as much as I can about my condition, which helps me stay on top of it. You know what? I'll tell you, that's one of the key things for me with all of my life, whether it's my diet, my exercise, my mental health. The more you study it and learn about it, about whether it's foods or exercise
yeah.
or mental health, now like even with sleep, for example, we have a good one of the followers is Brendan. It's awful. I'm going to remember his name here on the show. But he was always preaching to me. He's a sleep expert. He was always, Tom, you need your sleep. No, I'm Tom Laidlaw. I don't need sleep. 3 hours is enough, you know. And once I then studied it myself, I said, oh, I see what he means. Now I'm right. You know, he's right. So, yeah.
Yeah, and knowledge when used properly is power. Knowledge for the sake of accumulating knowledge doesn't help anyone,
Yeah.
but knowledge that you figure out how to implement, like William said, like it helps you stay ahead of the things that are going on because then you understand better. Like if you understand brain chemistry, then you can understand how chemical imbalances can lead to certain
Sure.
things. If you understand how neurons fire and how neural pathways are created in your brain, then you can understand how to rewire your mental state. But if you
Yeah.
don't know any of that, then you're just a victim of the things going on in your mind.
Yeah, totally. I don't want to forget this guy's name. Brendan Duffy was the sleep expert's name. And if I forget his name, he'd torture me for it. So here's a good question. I like this one. Would you say mental and physical pains are comparable?
Um, well, mental pains can lead to physical pains. Trauma is often stored in different parts of the body. But sometimes mental pain can be worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a ton of tattoos, and that's a lot of physical pain. And let me tell you right now, that's nothing to me. Like I can sit through 9.5 hours getting tattooed. Meanwhile, if I'm getting in a fight with a friend and they say something, that sticks with me for years,
Oh,
right? So mental pain, just like mental abuse versus physical abuse, you can't see mental abuse, you
right.
can't see emotional abuse, you can see physical abuse, but oftentimes I'd rather get slapped than get called a name, so it's I
Oh,
think.
okay. I want to touch on this. So you come across, and I mean this is a positive thing, that you're a very strong person, and that you've now learned to not let things bother you. But you're a human being, and you're still. If somebody says something to you, it still gets you. Okay, I'm glad
Oh, of
you. Yeah.
course.
Okay.
Oh God, yeah. I by no means want to portray myself as someone who's got it all figured out because
Right.
I mean life is
Yeah.
complex and
Right.
and it's just that you start learning different ways to cope with certain things or to move past certain things. But it doesn't mean that I'm not going to get triggered. I just can maybe move past the trigger a lot quicker than I could in my 20s when I didn't have the tools to cope or to understand why certain things make me feel a certain way.
Hmm. Interesting. I've got a friend of mine, actually a woman I dated several years ago. And this is before I really started opening up and started trying to learn things and everything. And this is my evaluation. And I don't want to say her name, obviously, publicly, but she'd been through a lot of stuff in her past. And whenever my sense is, this is my evaluation, that whenever people would get too close to her, she would all like self-sabotage,
Mm.
do things. And I didn't really realize what was going on in the past. Like, what the heck is going on? And I was like, gosh, screw this. I'm moving on. Kind of, not think. Now more that I think about it, she'd gone, I'll be careful, but she'd gone through stuff and reached out to me again to kind of thank me for stuff that happened in the past. So we've hit it off more as just friends right now, keeping in touch. But I still notice that now we'll talk for a while if it feels like, okay, it's becoming more than just friends, the whole sabotage thing comes out again. But I guess clearly I'm bragging about myself. I think I've come a long way where I think, okay, but Tom, don't worry. She needs you to be there. Still be there for her. Just don't have the expectation that it's more understand who she is and what she's been through. And I think
Yeah.
like I sometimes I sit back and go, wow, if I come a long way, man. I'm like, I never would have
Yeah.
thought I would have that.
And self-sabotage is a big one because
Yeah.
that's often rooted very deeply in childhood by feelings of inadequacy, like that you're not good enough.
Yeah.
And that comes down to the way that you were raised and the way that you were praised as a child.
Right.
Because if you don't think that really like deep down, right? Because we don't think about it in the logical sense, it's a subconscious thing. But if subconsciously you don't feel like a good situation, like you deserve it, then you'll find a way to sabotage it because
Right.
you don't think that there's any way that you could get that.
Yeah.
And that's hard as a person going through it to recognize when it's happening, right? It's
Sure.
easier for people from
Yeah.
the outside to be able to see it and say, oh, well, that person's doing that and that's self-sabotage. But
See, that's a great point. So, okay, for this person, so in all likelihood, maybe deep down inside, she knows it's happening, but doesn't want to admit it, kind of, or just can't comprehend it, or
sometimes it's not even admitting it. It's just as you're going through it, you don't even realize it. Like you
Gotcha.
may think about it later and say, "Oh my God, looking back then, I see how I caused that myself through my actions, my words, whatever." But as you're going through it, many times, no,
Yeah.
they're not going to realize what's
Right.
happening.
It's almost like, okay, if I want to be like to really care about her, I wait for things to be settled down and say, okay, do you want to have a heart-to-heart talk here? Because like, do you recognize what you're doing? But then you run the risk, though. It's almost like you're blaming her, right? For
Yeah, you have to be careful with how you word conversations like that because anytime someone feels like they're being attacked,
yeah,
they shut down, right? So a conversation like that would be more helpful if instead of you saying, this is what I see you doing, is asking questions and getting them to say, this is
right,
what I'm doing
totally.
based on the questions, right?
Right.
Because it's just psychologically
Right.
better if it's done that
You know
way.
what I found out too, and I learned this years ago. Um, so I dated somebody, didn't work out. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to be a gentleman. Instead of just ghosting her, I'm going to call her back up and explain my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But I started off the conversation by saying, listen, I'm not trying to blame you, but I say this. But I found out later on, well, by saying that, it's clearly you're trying to blame her, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to say it from your perspective and not and it's the same thing like if you're saying something that's triggering me emotionally,
Right.
instead of me saying you're making me feel this way,
Right.
what you say is these things that are happening are triggering these emotions for these reasons. And then it's more like I'm laying it out. I'm not telling you. Yeah, communication can be tricky.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Oh, because like in that case, when I called that one back up, I thought I'm really doing the right thing. I'm not
Mhm.
just avoiding it. I'm trying to be a man about it. But then as it turned out, man, it was the wrong thing. I'll tell you, like the reaction I got, like I was shocked, but then I had a conversation with somebody, having a conversation with you. And then once they explained my words, I go, oh, okay. I guess I said my intention was to say the
Great
right.
idea, terrible execution.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh man. That's you know what? That's the funny thing that you say that. That I think that's been the story of my life. Great idea, terrible execution. But I look and I go, but I've always I guess I'm just used to having terrible execution. So I realize, okay, but I can't do about my past terrible execution. I can just keep plowing forward, right?
Well,
And
and that's the thing. You start learning, okay, well, when I start a conversation like this, things don't really turn out the way I'd like them to.
right.
So let me see if this next time that I need to have a conversation like this, I can start it in a different way. Because like in the end, also, like we're not responsible for other people's reactions to the things that we have to say. And oftentimes people get triggered because it's true. Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's hard to hear as a person, like when you're being told that there's something that you're doing that's wrong or that's triggering to somebody else. Like we want to defend ourselves. That's
Yeah.
just human. The ego
Yeah.
comes
Oh, yeah.
out and you want to defend yourself. So it's important to put yourself in the other person's shoes as you're
Right.
having these conversations. Like how would I like it if someone was telling
Yeah.
me that I'm doing,
Yeah, totally. So when you go on a trip like you did in Bali, you're gone for 30 days. Uh, is your goal to learn things while you're gone? Is that the mission of going away like that?
Part of it, yeah. I mean, I love experiencing other cultures. Like the culture in the US is so materialistic and consumerism driven, and that just that's icky to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't live my life like that. So being able to get immersed in cultures where like that's not even possible. Like if you're making $300, $400 a month, like you're not thinking about all these things that you're buying and
Sure.
accumulating and showing status based on that. So I really enjoy. I also like to immerse myself with the people from wherever I'm going. Like I want to meet people from there. I want to have conversations and make friends with people that live there. I don't just want to be around a bunch of other
Yeah.
travelers, you know. So the longer I stay in places, the more I'm able to see culture and learn about the places. Like I know if I went to Bali to retire, like I know exactly where in Bali I would retire, like the exact place where I would want to live because I could see myself being in that life day in and day out
Yeah.
and how my day would look like. Like I already know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I love going to other places.
Yeah,
I
cool.
And people always say, "Well, you know, like where do you actually live? Like do you live in Puerto Rico? Do you live in Florida?" And I'm like, "Well, I live wherever I'm at
Yeah.
that point in time. So whether it's at someone's house in another country, like that's where I'm living for the time being. Like
Totally.
I don't I'm a child of the world. I
Yeah.
just love
Yeah.
it."
We get so stuck in that thing where you have to have this beautiful house and that's where you live. That's your home. It's this thing. Okay, who made that rule up? Who decided that has to be the way it is? Here's
Yeah.
another veteran of ours, Barry Shelley. He's probably commented before. Hockey players known as tough skin. When you played, you recall a moment that made you the most maddest. Was it something that ah uh,
Ooh.
well there'd be a few, but you know what? I was playing out in Los Angeles, so I was a veteran player at that point. I'd established a guy that I was always play through injuries and everything like that. But I'd also become that guy who's like, don't let anybody in. Like don't let anybody think anything bothers you. Just laugh it off, have a beer kind of mentality. And there was a guy on our team, a very well respected player, and I had broken my nose, and at that point, we think we're tough guys. So your nose is broken so many times, you just go in the locker room, you put your thumbs on either side, and you squash your nose back together, and it's fixed. So that happened, and somehow the guy I respected so much, and was friends with, made fun of me in some way that I didn't think was appropriate. I can't remember what it was, and I got really offended. And like it was really surprised me how offended I got by it because that's who I'd really become. Make fun of me all you want, doesn't bother me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I actually walked out of the room, and I didn't know what to say, didn't know how to handle it. And he knew that it affected me. And honestly, I'd gotten to the point where nobody thought anything affected me at all. So when he saw that I was affected by this, he's like, Tom, you could tell he was like, man, you're one of the toughest guys. Like you could tell now he was trying to, in a very good way.
Smooth it out.
Yeah. And he was being very nice. And I said, stop. That was my fault. I overreacted to what you said. And it was weird. I can remember it very vividly now. It was weird, my reaction and how I felt. It was one of those deals where while I'm reacting that way, I was just in the moment. I was even shocked at myself. It was kind of like I was out of my body watching myself do this. It's like, wow, it was weird that I reacted that way. So it's a great question. But yeah, there was, and I think, man, I tell you what, though, I do. I know everybody always says, I wish I knew then what I know now kind of thing. But man, I just think if I knew the stuff I know now about how to handle things, even when you get mad about things and how your mind doesn't work as clearly when you're mad and your heart rate's
Mhm.
elevated, those kind of things, man. But that's it's funny. I do remember very vividly being upset. It's like, and it was a small thing too, but it really affected me.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was racing cars, I would get so mad whenever like I would get taken out on purpose. Like
Right.
that would trigger me so bad because I would always come back to like you think you shouldn't get beat by a girl. So you'd rather crash
Oh,
me out than have me beat you. And I mean, I had times when I wish I would have had the tools to keep my anger in check, because I'd be the type that would grab my helmet and throw it at people. I mean, I
Oh,
was quite a
right,
little
right.
spitfire back then, and I think if I would have reacted differently, my career in racing may have lasted
Sure.
longer than it did.
But don't, and obviously, I think I know the answer here too. But now thinking the way we think, being this, you're a soul down here to learn things. Those were learning lessons that happened for a reason.
Of course. Yeah, and looking back, like, I don't think I would have been happy as a race car driver.
Oh,
Like, back then, that was my life. I was
right,
working towards that, and I didn't see anything but that for my life. But like now that I look back at what I've been able to accomplish in racing, coaching other people, and what I've been able to do as a yoga teacher, like, this is definitely my path. It
right.
wasn't that.
So when you go to Bali, then you get back to the yoga. Do you guys, is yoga a daily part of? You're there. It's yoga people. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, these retreats are more like yoga adventure. So they're meant to also push you past your comfort zone. Like, we hiked Mount Ijen. It's 3.5 kilometers like this
Oh,
in the middle of the night with just a little flashlight.
oh,
And then you get to the top and you have to go in the crater, another kilometer down the rocks. And then
right.
you're in there with lava, with a mask, and like there's smoke and it stings your eyes. And but like they're experiences that, like, they're one in a lifetime. Like, there's only 3 blue flame volcanoes in the world, and that's the only one that you can visit. So it's like I give people yoga, but I also give them experiences that are going to push their bodies and their mind past their comfort zone, so
Right.
that you go through the emotions of, like, I can't do this, or anger, or and then you have this experience where you're like, oh my god. Well, I mean, once you get there, it's like you forget about everything that you went through on that hike. Like, you're watching blue lava come out of a volcano, like,
Wow.
so yeah. And that's part of what I like to do, is kind of like, we go down the Kelingking beach. Now they're freaking building an elevator. I can't believe that Indonesia's allowing that. But it's a very tough hike, and if you want to go down, like, you need to get your big boy pants on, because it's like you have to climb down with a rope over steps. Like, it's not easy. And so I love pushing people's minds, putting them in situations where their mind's gonna.
So are
That's
you
always
there
fun.
teaching other people? Uh,
Yeah,
Is
I
that,
mean, I take people there, so
oh, gotcha.
I
Okay.
I teach
Gotcha.
them yoga in the mornings, and then we go on adventures, and yeah, we
So
travel
again,
around.
so the idea of hiking up there, the 3.5 kilometers and going down into the volcano, the crater, it's to push you out of your comfort zone and make you do things. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, and then experience things that are once in a lifetime. Like you're never gonna be able to do this ever again anywhere else. So it's, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I think that's a part of what makes life so awesome,
oh, I
that you
know,
can
right?
choose to do something every day that's different than what
Yeah.
you've ever done, and just have the experience of doing it.
Right.
Like, that to me is one of the most magical things that
Sure.
this life offers. Like, tomorrow, if I wanted to sing, I could rent a studio for a couple of hours and make an album. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know, like, there's just crazy things that you can decide to do. If
for
you've
sure.
ever wanted to paint, just do a wine and sip night, and drink wine and paint with your friends. Like,
Right.
there's so many things that you can try and experience, that even if you chose to do something different every day, you would never run out of things to do.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
think that that's
I so
magic.
agree with that. Yeah, and doesn't have to be a reason why you're doing it. You just want to do it,
No.
right?
And
Yeah.
no one needs to know about it, which is the most magical thing. Like, it's all for you, for your benefit, for your experience,
Right.
and for your own growth. And I mean, even if you look at my Instagram, I have maybe 5 posts from Bali. Like, no one really knows what was going on
Sure.
while we were there. Like, I wasn't going live and posting all these things, because
Right.
I want to also be in the moment, in the
Right.
experience. I don't want to be worried about that.
Yeah. How do you feel about being alone?
I'm alone most of the time. I'm a hermit.
So you're fine. You okay with that? It's
Yeah.
interesting. There's a lot of readings, a lot of people, experts sort of think the person that's comfortable being alone, like eating every meal alone, they're saying, in a good way, they're saying is a dangerous person because they
Mm.
don't need anybody else. They're
Mm-mm.
just, yeah,
No, I mean, most of the traveling that I do alone.
yeah,
I love experiencing new things, and I don't want to have to fit into anyone's idea of a schedule. I want to
Yeah,
get up when I want to get
I
up. I
know.
want to do what I want to do. And so
Yeah,
I travel alone a lot.
I know. I, I hate to say it, but being alone is so relaxing because you don't have to worry about anybody else. It's like,
Yeah. Plus, like I live in a magical place, so getting me out of my house
yeah,
is tough
yeah,
because I live in a bubble. I live in my own universe,
right,
and I love it there. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Let me see here. Our boy Danny Erickson, songwriter, is always trying to write that hit song. The pressure is always there that the well has run dry.
But that's also a thought. That's also just something that popped into the mind and you decided to run with it because creativity, there is no limit to
Right,
creativity. There is no limit to anything that can come out of a human
right,
other than what the human thinks is the limit. And that's a mind shift
right,
that has to happen.
right. And that's
And a lot
another,
of artists go
right.
through
So
it.
instead of saying the well has run dry, you say, well, for right now, I don't have any new ideas. That doesn't mean I won't have a new idea tomorrow. Like
Yeah,
you,
it's just what you're focusing on. So the second you put your energy towards thinking the well has run dry, that's where your thought
yeah,
is. The
right,
thought is not in what could come next, right?
right,
So what we focus on, it's what's real. So if we're focusing on, I don't think I can do this anymore, then you can't do it anymore. If
yeah,
you're focused on, I got to find a new way to do it, then that's what's going to come out of
totally.
it. Creativity, right?
Right.
So
And I think once you get in that mindset that you can do it, you don't even question it. It's just like, okay, I'm just going to find a way to do it. Like you don't even have to say the words. You don't even have to think it. It's just
yeah.
it's going to happen, right?
And that's also why not being attached to the result, which is another part of karma,
Yeah,
that's really important. Like you're doing the work for the sake of doing the work,
right.
not necessarily for what's going to come out of it. And that in this hustle and bustle and grind
Yeah,
life that we're living in the moment is a really tough place to be in because people, if they're putting their effort to something, they want to get something out of it. But like, why can't you just enjoy the journey
yeah,
and let what comes out of it come? Like,
yeah.
why is there so much pressure onto how everything needs to turn out? So,
You know, that's very true. Because like I didn't do it intentionally, but I wrote my book and haven't published it. And I may never publish it, to be honest with you.
no, you have
Well,
to.
because, okay, a couple of things though. To your point that you were just saying, when I initially wrote the book, I thought, okay, I'm going to publish it. I'm going to sell copies. I'm going to change the world. And I thought, well, but what I got from writing the book was excellent because I really, I could learn more about myself writing the book, that like things that I didn't want to tell, things that I probably had blocked out and start telling
Mm,
stories. Plus now I also think, and I love this about my life now, is that I'm always learning new things. So what I maybe believed in 2 or 3 years ago, like our conversations about the soul and everything,
mhm.
we joked around about this before. You mentioned that to me 6 or 7 years ago, and I was being polite, but I was like, yeah, right, okay, yeah, right, the soul.
About vibration, about
Yeah, I was
vibration.
like, okay, I'm not going to be rude. You know, she believes in that, but now I believe in that. Now I believe in the potential of that and other things. But that wasn't how I felt when I wrote the book. So I almost, I guess you can write a different book. I can write a second book, but yeah,
Yeah, you can write a second book about what you learned while you were writing the first book.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
and that's another cool thing about being human. It's like you can literally decide I'm somebody different today, and you're
Yeah,
somebody different today. Like no one can
right.
do anything about it, and that's
But,
power.
and you're very correct. But a lot of like this, our society, it like still kind of is like they think that's weird, right? To
Yeah, but
be,
who cares what anybody else thinks?
Richard, I agree with you. It's just that is what a lot of people face. Like they won't do that because they're afraid of what other people are going to think, right?
Yeah, I mean, like one of the toughest things to like get through in society, it's the fact that once people make up their mind about who you are, it doesn't matter who you actually are.
Yeah,
Like they're gonna have an idea of who
yeah,
you are in their mind. So like when I do work with inmates or previously incarcerated individuals, like that's one of the biggest things for me. It's like I don't care who you were. I want to know who you are and what you are trying to do to be the person that you know you can be today. Like don't tell me who you killed, don't tell me the shit that you did. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. I don't even want that thought to be in my mind because who I see today is who you are deciding to
totally.
be right now.
Yeah,
Um and I think doing that also opens the person up to understand that they can be different.
sure.
And yeah, it's a way to love.
Yeah, it is true because I've realized probably over the last, well, it hasn't been that long a time, 2 or 3 years now. I, in the past, always felt like I needed to explain myself or justify myself. And now I've learned, like you said before, you know what? Actually, the more I try to justify myself, more people are going to have opinions. They're going to say, oh, Tom said this, Tom said that. Instead of just thinking, you know what? They're going to say whatever they're going to say about me. So just be who I am. Don't justify it. Let them think what they want to think. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is that reflects who they are as well. Like I had someone write a nasty comment on an Instagram post that is these people that take care of stray dogs in Puerto Rico.
Right.
And the way that they do it is like they have a 1-week retreat and you can come down and experience Puerto Rico and help take care of the stray problem while you're there. And all I wrote was, I'm already in Puerto Rico. If you ever have a week where you don't have enough help, let me know and I'm happy to help.
Right.
And someone wrote something like, I can't believe you're from the island and you have to go helping these white people that are going down. And I'm like, how could I trigger something bad by saying that I'm willing to help? Like, but that's a reflection of that person and their insecurities and their pain and their whatever. I didn't even answer, right? I'm not going to feel that fire.
Right.
But it's one of those things where like people are going to react from their point of view, never from what you say, but from where they are as a person.
And in fact, that's even more powerful when you don't say anything at all and then you don't react and they're still reacting. You're realizing, hey, it clearly has nothing to do with me because I'm not even saying anything.
No. And that's important to understand a lot of times, especially like you never know when you're having a conversation with someone, the stuff that they are carrying at that moment.
Yeah.
And so like having that grace of being like, okay, well, this person reacted this way, but is it really because of what I say or are they going through something?
Right.
Because then that also shifts the energy that you are continuing to put out into the conversation.
Right. Very true. Our buddy John here, let me see what he has to say. Justification is giving the opportunity for others to accept you or rip your apart. Yep. And they're going to do it anyways, but you're just giving more. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Danny's dog is a pet from Puerto Rico, actually, too. And Danny, is your wife? I think his wife is Puerto Rican too. I think she's Puerto Rican. But so Danny's wife, when I first started doing these shows, and Danny started following his wife, he'd have his wife follow it, and she thought I was very arrogant. Well, I can see where she could come at him. Yeah, she was making comments like, "Oh, he's so full of himself and everything." Danny was telling me this, and I think she's come around now to realize that I might still be slightly arrogant. It's just that, but again, and that's actually we're joking around about, but that is somebody else's opinion. There's that line there between you can be arrogant to somebody else and you can be confident to somebody else too. Yeah.
And that's the thing, like where is that line between confident and arrogant?
Yeah.
Like I've had people say that to me too, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I'm the way I am, and I'm not changing for anyone.
And so it can be different from one show that we do together. Like you may be on one show that you come across somebody thinks, "Wow, she's arrogant," and the same person the next show will go, "Oh, well, she's a confident person." Yeah. And Danny's wife is Portuguese. That's
Portuguese.
Right. Portuguese descent.
Interesting. I have some Portuguese.
Oh, do you have Portuguese in you? Oh.
Yeah. 8%. 50% Spanish.
Have you done one of those ancestry things where you figure out who you are?
Yeah, my husband and I got some as a wedding gift.
Oh, did you? Were you surprised when you found out?
I was surprised at some of it. Like I even have Irish. I have 1.3% Irish, and I don't know where that came from. I have like a lot of European, though. I'm mostly European. I have Italian and Portuguese and Spanish.
And what's Leo, your husband? What's
99% Irish.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Oh yeah.
What's the 1%? What was the 1%?
Viking. 0.8% Viking.
Viking. Oh wow.
He wanted to be a Viking.
Yeah.
So.
I was gonna say that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'd love to be a Viking.
He thought he had more of that.
Yeah, I gotta get that done. I haven't done that. Yeah. And I tell you, I think I have my oldest son who's married. They're having a baby. Granddaughter due in April.
So exciting.
It's funny, and I love both my sons are the same. They're like me, where I'm saying like, well, you ever changed a diaper before? So yeah, no big deal. And and I was the same way. So I kind of laugh at them. So I started sending them a few videos of dads changing the poopy diapers that smell like just like until you have changed a poopy diaper, you don't know what it's like to change a diaper.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, he was kind of laughing about it. It was pretty funny.
Oh,
But,
that's great.
yeah, granddaughter too. So I obviously raised my two sons, so I've changed their diapers, with the little pee-pee and everything. Now it's a whole different ballgame. It's I don't know if I'm gonna get freaked out a little bit, like it's my granddaughter. Like, God.
Oh, that's so cute. No experiences.
I know. It's the weird thing too is just kids are growing up and just you're surprised with things that are happening in life. They thought, oh God, I never thought that. First of all, I never thought I'd make it to 67. So
Yeah, when I was younger, I always thought that I would die young. So that's why I was like, I'm gonna do as much as I can because I'm gonna die young. And that was like almost 10 years ago that I thought I was gonna die. And I'm still around. So I'm like, all right, well, we're just gonna keep living like that.
Funny stuff. Well, I'm glad you're back. Sounds like a fantastic trip. I totally admire that. And I wish more people would. And again, people have to have the finances to do it too. But to be able to do things and just say, listen, there's no reason why I'm doing it. I just want to do it. I think that's a fantastic thing.
Yeah, and I think traveling expands your mind. But I mean, there are cheap ways to travel. Like I'm wanting to go to Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, and there's a 30-day trip that's like $4,000 for the 30 days.
Is that right?
And they include all the transportation inside from one country to the other. So like, I mean, you can figure out, and now with like ChatGPT can find you super low last minute travel things. So I mean, I traveled a lot just backpacking it into hostels. So I did most of my traveling when I was younger on a budget. So
wow. Those places. Maybe I'll go with you for a 30-day trip for $4,000. But yeah, I'm gonna want to come back with a wife from like Vietnam or something like that. That's gonna be the problem. Right?
Philippines. You need to go to the Philippines for that. No. Okay.
I know the Philippines. And here's the thing too. And not even I've met women who are from Philippines but live here. But I think it's even with them. They have this way about the sweet.
Yeah, one of my best friends is Filipino.
So now I have the perception that any woman I meet from the Philippines is just going to be the sweetest thing on the planet, which obviously is pretty high expectation. So, no.
Yeah, that's stereotyping.
No, really. All right, great to see you back again. We will be back in a couple of weeks with the great Johanna Godunez. Terrible.
Someday.
If anybody wants to get a hold of you, they can do it on Instagram, Facebook.
Instagram at Bay_lifestyle PR. You can call me 815-501-5070. Happy to chat.
Cool. Good to see you again. The Puerto Rican princess.
Have a good day, guys.